So today we're going to talk about hard conversations. Okay. Have you ever avoided a difficult conversation at work because you didn't know how you're going to handle it? You're not alone. Okay. This is a challenge. I hear this frequently. One of my clients told me I was putting off a hard conversation because I was afraid of hurting or making things worse. But avoiding hard conversations doesn't make you kind. It makes you ineffective. So today I'm going to give you the exact playbook I use to coach leaders through tough conversations they're avoiding. So let's talk quickly on why hard conversations matter. Let's talk about the cost of avoidance. Okay. You know what happens when you avoid these conversations: poor performance. Okay. And it continues and it's being told it's okay. Resentment builds from different people watching it, just saying, hey, I guess it's okay. Credibility erodes because as a leader, you allow things to happen. Problems compound over time. They just get worse because you don't confront it. Every day you don't have that conversation, the conversation gets harder to have. And as one of my coaches told me, what you avoid controls you. All right. You don't want that situation that's getting out of hand to control you. So what's the reality that's happening within the leadership? Your ability to lead is directly proportional to your ability to have hard conversations. The people you lead know you're not going to have them. It's going to impact how they show up. It's going to impact how you show up. And the higher you go, the more difficult the conversations are going to face. This is part of being in a leadership position. You're there to solve problems, okay? Not just to have a great day and have people serve you. You're there to solve problems. And you can't delegate hard conversations. I've seen this a lot too. Some people in leadership positions do not want to have these hard conversations, so they delegate it. And man, it doesn't do anyone favors. It makes things worse. Okay, that is a key leadership competency that you need to have. So there's three types that I think of when I think about hard conversations. The first one, can you get a new marker? Because my daughter used that one. The first one is performance. Okay. This is when someone isn't meeting expectations, the quality is below standards, deadlines are being missed, there's performance issues, and they need to be addressed. Why is this hard? Well, sometimes you fear of demotivating them or as being seen as too harsh. That can be part of the challenge. The next one, behavioral. Okay. These can be attitude issues. These can be communication problems. This could be conflict within the team. This could be even undermining your leadership or the culture. And this can be hard because sometimes it feels like it could be personal or subjective. Okay. The third one, I'll call it some kind of a direct conversation. Maybe someone's in the wrong role, or some bad news needs to be delivered. Bad as an assessment, right? No promotion, project canceled, we're moving on, organizational changes that are going to impact you. And this can be very hard. This could probably sometimes be the worst. It's hard because you're kind of like the bearer of disappointing news, something that they're not going to like to hear. Okay. So we'll talk about those. Why do leaders avoid hard conversations? There's a few things that I think of. This is one I see often, is kindness, okay? I don't want to hurt their feelings. They're going through a tough time. The truth is, avoiding feedback is hurtful, okay? It robs them of their growth. True kindness is telling them the truth, helping them grow and not letting things get worse over time. So I was working with Mel. She was a client of mine, and we worked on this. And she told me one of the insights she had was that she had to reframe kindness as a leadership strength, okay? Not avoiding discomfort. She said the real kindness is caring enough to tell them the truth, okay? The next one, I'd call it fear of conflict, okay? We're worried about a defensive reaction. We don't want to damage the relationship. We almost think of like, well, it's not that big of a deal to go into this potential breakdown of the relationship in the future. Okay. But the truth is, relationships are built on honesty. Okay. And honesty is stronger. It's a requirement to have that trust. You can't have the trust if you're not having honest conversations. Okay. The conversation you're avoiding is the one that will transform the relationship. Right. The saying goes, often what you want is on the other side of a tough conversation. So if you're avoiding the tough conversation, you're often avoiding what you want to get, right? What you need. The next one I'm going to call perfectionism. Okay. And that would be like waiting for the perfect time or having the right words or just full clarity of what you want to say. Wanting to have everything figured out before you speak. So the truth is, there's never a perfect time. Usually it's necessary. It's time when you see it. The soonest opportunity is going to be the best time, not waiting for some perfect time. Okay. And if you remember from my last video, I talked about, oftentimes smart people overthink this. They overthink these things. We just need to get it done. Have that conversation, make the changes. Okay. Another reason that I see is self-doubt. Man, who am I to give this feedback? What if I'm wrong? What if they don't respect me afterwards? What if this changes the whole everything? Okay. And I think the important thing to remember is if you're in a leadership position, your position requires you to give them the feedback. Okay. Whether you feel qualified or not, your feelings in that qualified isn't part of it. Okay. It's the role and responsibility to give them the feedback. Okay. Leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, about being honest. Okay. It's about having these hard conversations. So those are 4 reasons. Maybe there's one of these 4 stick out to you. All right. Let's talk about how we can overcome these and make it a little bit easier. Okay. So there's a few things, a little bit of a framework. Okay. The first step I'd say is just being clear. Clear. Okay. Clear on what? Clear on your why. Okay. What outcome do you want? Why does this conversation serve them? Why does it serve the team or the organization? Be very clear. You have to be clear yourself. That way you're clear to them. Okay. Step 2, energy. Okay. Where's your energy? Where's your mood? Where are your emotions? Are you angry? Are you frustrated or disappointed? Those are emotions you don't want to show up with, right? Wait until you can come with care and clarity. Okay. Make sure you check your energy. Okay. Your energy and the way you show up is going to be louder than your words. So make sure you check your energy. Okay. Step 3. I'm going to put here prepare, but the key is prepare, but don't script. Okay. Know your key points. Be clear. Don't make them hard to understand. Make it obvious what you're trying to say. Okay. Know your key points, but don't memorize the speech. And along with that prepare is be ready to listen, right? Not just talk. Okay. Then the next one, I'll put setting. It's kind of like create the right setting. Okay. Create it. You should be private. It shouldn't be public. Make sure there's enough time. It's not rushed. Make sure it's a neutral space if you can. Face to face is going to be better, right? Avoid text, email, something that could be misconstrued. Have a conversation. It's a person to person. Talk to them like a person. Give them space. Talk to them. Don't text. Don't write. Don't send voicemails. Have a conversation. Okay. All right. During the conversation, it's a few things. So we'll just kind of list this out. Make sure you're very clear in your opening. The opening needs to be very clear. I want to talk to you about X because I care about your success. Name the conversation directly. Don't dance. It's got to be clear. That's why we set it up, right? Okay. Make sure you're collaborative. Your tone is collaborative from the start. Example, I need to share some feedback that might be uncomfortable, but it's important for your growth. So we start. Then we go into the situation. Be specific. Use observations, not judgment. You don't want to say you have a bad attitude. Okay. What's better is saying, in yesterday's meeting, you interrupted 3 colleagues and dismissed their ideas. Much better. Focus on the behavior, not the character. Focus on the behavior. Okay. And this is where we get distinctions between assessments and assertions, which you might have heard from some of my coaching material. Okay. Assessments are the stories that we see. Story is is what we tell ourselves, right? Often the judgment. But the assertion is something that someone else can see, right? If you interrupted 3 colleagues, other people could see that as well. Okay? From there, talked about the impact. Connect to the consequences. Explain how the behavior affects results. Share the impact on the team. Share the impact on the clients or the company, right? An example could be when deadlines are missed, the whole project timeline shifts, and then everyone else has to react to it. Okay, make it about outcomes, not just your feelings. I would probably try to avoid that. Focus on outcomes, the so what factor. And then from there, invite their perspective. I think this is very powerful. I usually like the phrase, help me understand what's going on from your perspective. Okay. What do you think is contributing to this? Very important to listen. Listen more than talk in this phase. Listen to what they're saying. See how they're saying it, how their body shows up, how their energy shows up. See how it feels to you too, how it's landing on you. Okay. There's often way more context than you don't know. From there, try to get into the agreement. Co-create some kind of path forward. Don't just tell them what to do. Ask them, what do you think needs to change? Okay. Agree on specific actions and timeline. Document the agreement. Okay. I talk a lot about powerful agreements in my coaching material. Okay. There's a specific framework for that. I think the key thing here is when we have agreement, it's not about compliance. Compliance is I do it for the sake of the task. Okay. It's a commitment, which means I have a shared vision of the future and we do it for that future. That's where the powerful agreement comes from. And from there, it's follow-up. You need to have some kind of accountability for yourself and for them. Schedule a check-in, right? Maybe let's meet again in 2 weeks to see how things are going. Be clear about consequences if things don't improve, but always support them at the end. I believe you can do this. We need you. We are counting on you. I think what's helpful afterwards is do a debrief on yourself. Okay? Think about it. What went well? What would I have done differently? How do I feel now? How did I feel then during the meeting? How do I feel now? Okay. I worked with Mel to develop this so that she can start growing and getting better and better and better at having these hard conversations. After that, obviously you need to follow through. Do what you said you would do. Provide the support for them that you promised. Hold yourself accountable, because the credibility, this is where your credibility is built. Having the hard conversations and then actually following through and making things happen. Okay? Also, notice progress. Acknowledge improvements when you see them. Positive reinforcement matters. Okay? The hard conversations is the beginning. Okay? It's not just a one moment and it's done. There should be change on the other side. So the feedback needs to be a continuous loop. Okay? Not just a one-time event. All right. So going back to Mel, I mentioned her earlier. We worked together. And I think the challenge for her was she was an incredibly kind leader, a thoughtful leader. And she wanted to avoid conversations because she didn't want to hurt people. I guess those were the words. She said, I was putting off hard conversations and it was hurting my leadership. And as we coached, the big shift for her was that she realized kindness doesn't mean avoiding discomfort. It means telling them the truth so that they can grow. Okay? Kindness is helping them. And we practiced that in a safe environment with role playing. And that, I think, really helped kind of start the muscles, because it is a muscle. It is a leadership muscle that we need to build on having hard conversations. She learned to separate care from conflict avoidance. She needed to see that to care, I need to have these conversations. And the results was that, well, this is what she told me. I led with courage, and courage became one of my core goals. I'm more comfortable and consistent with hard and honest conversations now. She said it ended up strengthening her relationships through honesty. Her kindness was finally able to show its muscles. And the key lesson she told me was the conversations you avoid define the limits of your leadership, right? Like She really wanted to be a better leader. She knew kindness was part of it. Now she could flex it. So before we wrap up, because we're almost done here, let me just talk quickly about some mistakes that can often happen with these tough conversations. The first one is compliment sandwich. You're doing great, but criticism, but overall you're doing awesome. Okay. I see this all the time. I've seen this in sports so many times at the collegiate level. You're diluting everything. Tell them clearly. Be supportive. Mistake 2, you bring up ancient history. You remember 6 months ago when? Deal with the issues as they arise. Focus on the current situation and move forward. It doesn't help to hold on to all this past. The third mistake would be to make it all about you. I'm disappointed, or you let me down. Okay. Keep the focus on them, on the team, on the impact. Your feelings, I would not talk about those. Talk about the impact. Another mistake, like I mentioned before, is just not following through. You have the conversation, nothing changes on your end. Okay, no accountability, letting things slide again after you told them, and then later it's as if you never had the conversation. Okay, so you need to have those standards. Otherwise, there's instability in everything. Okay, so as I wrap up this talk together, I challenge you to identify one conversation you've been avoiding. Use this framework that we talked about. Schedule a conversation next 5 days. Waiting doesn't make it easier. Okay? Track your progress. Think about what made it hard entering it. Think about what happened afterwards. Make sure you follow up, right? Follow through on your side. Maybe get support. Maybe get an accountability partner. Maybe role play, right? Debrief after it. So as we wrap this up, if you're in a leadership role and you're avoiding a hard conversation, you're limiting your impact. Every leader I coach works on the skill. It is a skill that you build. It's not natural. It's learned. It's like learning how to squat or any other pushing plates, right? Bench press, military press, pull-ups. You have to learn and you have to work at it. I do this in my program, my Career Growth Accelerator program. We work on this. We role play. I challenge them and they get better because that's the whole point of the program. They get better. So as I wrap this up, as I always say, commit to making some change. I don't want this to just be entertainment. It could be. Most people, they're going to listen to it. It's going to be entertaining. Okay? They're not going to do anything about it. But I challenge you to commit to doing something about it. Choose, which is the C of COMMIT in my framework. Choose to make some change. Choose to have that hard conversation. Okay? And that could be life-changing for you. If you need help, reach out. I love to help you. I help out people individually or within groups. But the challenge here for you is to choose to make some change. Anyways, hope this is helpful. Until next time, thank you. Bye.